Everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about Elden Ring. That's what it is. It's open world Dark Souls, really. And I'm not going to do a review on it really today. I just kind of wanted to talk to you about it because, this game's been out for a while. It's super popular, sold super well, and everyone and their mother's done a review on this game already. So I just kind of wanted to talk to you about it more than give my review on it. If I did a review, 10 out of 10 easily. It's actually one of the best games I've ever played, I think. And it was hyped a lot. And usually I'm a little kind of skeptical of games that get like hyped up a whole lot. Because, sometimes people have different tastes, a 10 out of 10 for someone's not going to be that for another person. So I was a little skeptical going into it, let's say. And I've been a fan of the Dark Souls games for years. I've played all of them, even Demon Souls I enjoyed. And this one, I think, was kind of like, I don't know if spiritual successor is the right word. More like an evolution of the Dark Souls games, I'd say. I think that's what I'd say about it. Because this is an open world rather than, just going through hallways and having more of like a linear level type gameplay, right? So the amount of different options you have in this game on just how to play it, I thought was amazing. You can choose from different classes of characters that you start off with, and you can, collect all kinds of different weapons throughout the game, and each weapon's got a different way you use it, and the learning curve on this game is actually pretty high. You got to really invest a lot of time into it to really like get into everything and learn how to play the game, so you're actually good at it. But if you have played the Dark Souls games or any kind of like Souls, what do they call it? Souls-based games, Souls-like games. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you have some experience in those, you'll probably do a little better in this game. But I will say that this game is not as punishing as, your usual kind of Dark Souls game. In the Dark Souls games, I really felt like sometimes the games just try to like mess with you. They'll just throw creatures at you out of nowhere sometimes, and you almost walk around every corner like expecting the game to just screw you over. and actually for the Dark Souls games, it was kind of fun if you have a good attitude about it, because you feel like the game's just kind of making jokes at you all the time almost. That's what I felt like anyway. But this Elden Ring game, it's a little less like that. You don't feel like the game's really screwing with you. You feel like the game's just kind of laying out this huge amount of things, like this huge land for you to explore, full of crazy monsters and crazy locations. It is kind of like a dark fantasy world still, similar to Dark Souls. You're still seeing a lot of horrible demonic creatures, very imaginative creature design, I'd say. And what really is interesting about this game and keeps you playing it, though, is just the gameplay, I'd say. Now, the evolution from Dark Souls to this is they've actually given you more moves. You can actually jump in this game, which you can never do in the Dark Souls games. So that makes things a little more fun, actually. You can actually see something and jump up onto it to get somewhere else. Couldn't do that in Dark Souls at all. You just kind of stuck on the floor at all times. And you've also got a magic horse you can just call out of nowhere and ride anywhere you want. So they really give you a lot of freedom in this game, which I really enjoyed. And that way, if you come across some kind of animal or demon or something that's just kicking your butt, you can just choose to run away. If it kills you, you don't have to go keep fighting it and keep fighting it and keep fighting it until you actually kill it. You can just go somewhere else and maybe level up, and then a couple hours later come back and try again. It's really, really interesting in that way. And I think it's a good idea because you don't get as frustrated in this game. But it is just as scary. That's one thing I really like about the Dark Souls games and this Elden Ring game. I feel like these are true horror games. They're not like horror games in the traditional sense, like Resident Evil, where you're counting bullets and stuff, but you are very much vulnerable at any time to just be wiped out. And you have to be very careful about what you do and be very cautious if you're in a new place you don't know. And that's what kind of makes it interesting too. But that can also kind of divide, I think, what kind of player this game is for. You know, if you're more of like a casual player where you just want to, you know, run into things and, you know, spam the button to beat everything up, kind of like in a, you know, like a hack and slash game, it's not really like that. You have to be very, what's the word? You have to be very exact, like on your button presses and stuff and your timing, because, you know, you've got the creature coming in, they've got their own attacks, you know, very, very time specific attacks where you got to block or attack back, you know, and it's very complicated in that way. And it does have a very high learning curve. You will not be good at this game in even like 5 hours. You'll be progressing like the whole way through it. And even if you get like to the end of the main storyline and you beat the last boss, you'll still feel like you're a noob almost, because there is so much other stuff to do in this game and so many bosses that are like hidden too. That this game has a lot of just hidden places. You know, a lot of stuff I just had to look up online and say like, where is this thing? And I remember there being a couple like caves and stuff that were hidden in cliffs, and you wouldn't even know. You know, you wouldn't even know unless like someone told you about them, pretty much. But that's what I thought was really interesting too, just the amount of secrets in the game. It felt like an old kind of like Nintendo game where, you know, you're checking around all the walls and stuff to see if there's little secrets, you know, something like that. It really kind of brought back that old school feeling for me where, you know, a game's just super hard. And as a little kid, you know, you got all the time in the world, you can just replay that same level of Ninja Gaiden over and over and over again until you beat it. And I kind of felt like that way here too. You know, there'd be like a really hard enemy I was having trouble defeating. But if you just try again, you'll learn what moves they're going to do. You'll learn like their rhythm and their timing and what you got to do to defeat them. And one good thing I will say, I played Dark Souls 3 right before this game, and there were bosses in Dark Souls 3 I could just not beat for the life of me. Even in the main game, not even the DLC, there was like a couple bosses where I actually had to like glitch the game out to beat it. And I didn't like that. But in this Elden Ring game, I think the bosses are a lot more fair, I guess, in the way that that the designers made them. So you don't feel like any boss is just like completely unbeatable, even though it might seem that way at first. You can try a couple times and you're like, oh, okay, there's like this little thing I can do, or oh, maybe I'll try that. And they give you a lot more options of like how to beat a boss even. And another gameplay aspect that you never saw in Dark Souls is they also give you the ability to summon like ghosts basically to help you in a fight. And there's tons of different ghosts you can collect and level up them too. And you'll find that, you know, maybe for a specific boss, you'll want to use like a specific ghost in your inventory to help you fight them. So just the amount of ways you can play this game really blew me away. And that's why I spent almost 260 hours playing it. I played it to death, and I enjoyed every minute. You know, I finished the main quest, I think, in about 80 hours, like the first time. And once you do that, if you beat the last boss, they give you the ability to do a new game plus. So you keep your character, you keep your equipment, and you'll start the game anew. And all the enemies in the game have like a little. Okay, sorry about that. My camera stopped, and my last bit of video got cut off there. Anyways, I was almost done anyway. So, yeah, I think I was just saying that I played this game 3 times through, and at the last, maybe even 4 times through, actually, I forget. But the last time I got to the end boss, I just couldn't beat him. He was too strong at that point. So that's when I kind of stopped and just said, okay, no more of this addiction. You know, I got to stop playing this game. But I had a blast with it, guys. I really did. So that's kind of how I'm going to just end up here. I definitely recommend this game. If you guys don't like the Dark Souls games, but you thought you maybe want to give them another chance, I'd say give this game a chance. But if you don't like the Dark Souls games at all, you hate the gameplay, you don't like sword fighting, you don't like magic using, you'd rather, run around in space with a laser beam or something, don't try this game. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.
Truest of dragons, lend me thy strength. We'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold.